Again, another really a tough loss, a tough game on the road. I think the biggest thing for us as a program, as a team, the past 2 weeks has really been kind of not eye-opening, but I think it's been great for us as a program, great for us as a coaching staff, great for us as a team to really see what it is that we have to do and where we have to get to be the class of the league, because that's our goal. And in order to be the class of the league, the last 2 weeks, the teams that we saw are what we have to measure ourselves against. And I don't mean that just personnel-wise, I just mean that as a whole in everything that we do. Again, tough, but there are some positives, there are some things, and I think that, couldn't say it 2 weeks ago, but after this past week, I could tell, I told guys, I probably told some of you guys that we're a little closer than people probably can see. And to a lot of the people out there, they see 33-3, and it's hard to see that it's any bit closer than even maybe a week before or 2 weeks before. But there's some things, and it's harder for our kids to see, you know, because they see the big picture. They see 33-3, and they don't like it. But we had to kind of come in on Monday and really kind of take a step back and do a really good job of making sure they could see some of the things that we're talking about that are out there. And there's 5 or 6 plays in that game that have an opportunity to change the entire momentum, to change some things, to give us some different outlooks. There's 5 or 6 plays on defense in particular. There's 2 or 3, 4 plays on offense. There's 2 or 3 plays even on the special teams where we're 6 inches away from a block punt, you know, 1 cut away from a chance of a really big kickoff return. I think defensively there's 3 plays out in the flat where the ball's over top our flat defender's head, maybe by 3-4 inches. And those things right there are difference makers in the sense that whether we get a hand on it, whether we have a chance to pick it and take it to the house like they did. Those are huge, huge differences in momentums and really for those guys seeing and believing the things that we're talking about. So there are some things that we really try to show our guys to make sure they can understand the growth and visually be able to see it. So that's kind of wrap up last week. This week, obviously excited to get back home, excited to play at 4 o'clock, excited for homecoming. I've never been much of a homecoming guy, I guess, just because where I was before, every week for me was you know, there were so many people that you knew that were around, you'd been there for so long, so it wasn't that much different. Where to me, for the first time homecoming here, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what kind of guys come back, what kind of former players, people I don't know, people that don't live here or always come to every single game, but have an opportunity to come back for this week. I'm excited for our players, for our coaches, for myself, to hopefully see some of those guys and for them to obviously get a first-hand look at the progress and the things that we're doing as a program.
Is this league, I don't know what you thought of it coming in, but is it better than you thought?
Yeah, it is. As a whole, and everything that I see, I'm not just talking about, you know, specific teams. I mean, talent-wise across the board, impressed. And I think that's what the last 2 weeks has given us the ability. I've spent a lot of time just sitting down, even with whether it's recruiting, our personnel sides and things, and say, okay, what do we need to do? We know our goal and what we want to be as the class of the league, and how do we see ourselves moving forward and what we need to do in this league? Because there's a lot of depth in this league. There's a lot of talent in this league, and there's a lot of good coaching in this league. And I think you see in the way these teams are playing, whether they're new coaches, like obviously in South Florida with the new coaching staff, they've picked right up where they've left off. And across the board, I've been very impressed.
What is Hayden's status? What did he hurt the other night exactly?
He hurt a ligament or something on his throwing arm. He kind of did it the week before as well. He got hit, and the week before kind of continued to battle through it, but you know, it was a little bit of an issue on Sunday and Monday, and didn't cause us a whole lot of setbacks from Tuesday on. But the same kind of thing happened there later in the game, in the 3rd quarter, when he got sacked. I think when he turned the ball over, same kind of thing. It hit him. His hand goes a little bit numb, and it's a little bit difficult on a quarterback at that time.
So going forward, he starts again this week?
Yeah, he's our starting quarterback, and we didn't take him out other than, hey, he got hurt, he got hit, you know, his arm was a bit numb, and for the first time it was at least a situation where we could get, you know, we could get Ross an opportunity to get in the football game, and with Hayden, you know, being a little bit dinged up at that point in time, a lot better than the week before when there was a situation where maybe we would have stuck him in, or 2 weeks before that against Marshall, in a situation where we were going to stick him in. This was a better opportunity for us.
Any read on how Ross did? You know,
I mean, again, what I look at is just even the command of the things that we're doing. Was there 8 points put on the board? No. Was there, a whole lot of big? No, there wasn't. But the command of the things that he did, does he understand what he's doing? When you sit down and you watch his 17 plays, can he explain to you what he's doing and why he's doing it? When you don't get to play a whole lot, it's a little bit more difficult to kind of articulate and to watch and to see, to understand what and why you're doing those kinds of things. And that's where, when you try to evaluate, I thought I did a good job. And the evaluation of him being able to sit down and look at those things and kind of give you some feedback. Disappointed, I told you, the last, I think it was a 4th down, he pulls the ball and throws it, we don't get it, and that's when I grab on the sidelines, not pissed, just, they'll tell me exactly what and why. It's 4th and 1, and we're going to run the football, and yet we pull it, so tell me what and why. Bad mistake, not what we wanted, but he gave me an explanation that he understands the game of football, and I think that's where you're starting to see, and hope we continue to see the growth of what he's doing too.
When you say we're closer than people think, you know how most people are going to read that and think that's just, they won't believe it.
No, it's okay, and they don't have to. They're no different than some of our 18 to 22. Seeing is believing. We all understand that. I see a lot better than I hear. Okay, I tell our players that all the time. But at some point in time, for us, we have to be able to show these guys what we're talking about. And what I'm talking about are some situations in the game, whether it's 6-3, whether it's 3-3. It's a very simple one. We rip the ball out. The ball's on their own 28-yard line. Our defensive end, Mark Wilson, rips the ball out of the guy's hands, is tackling the guy. There's nobody around. The ball bounces twice, bounces right back up into the hands of a guy who's sitting on the ground. You call it luck? I told our guys, it's not luck. Good things happen to people that have some momentum, that are hustling, that are doing things the right way. The ball bounced back to them. Who's to say it didn't take a left bounce? We have 2 guys sitting right there. Now we recovered a football, the ball's on the 28-yard line. Our offense has got the ball 3-3. Momentum is huge in games. And those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. Now, no, nobody has to sit there and believe, but our guys are the most important ones to be able to see those kinds of things, because they got a pit in their stomach. They feel awful. Nobody wants to lose. They work their butts off. They've committed, they've sacrificed, they believe in the things that we've done and we've said, and yet they haven't had the results. So we got to find those things to be able to show them. And I tell them, it's not going to be handed to you. There's a play, first play of the second half or second play of the first half. All right, still, it's not obviously a situation of the game, but they try to throw the ball to the field side flat, and our Sam Backer is, probably 3 inches over his head. With the ball, you'd say, quarterback, don't throw that ball, man. That's a pick 6 if you underthrow it by just 6 inches. That's a pick, not like that's a tip ball. That's one where there's nobody else out there. The guy can walk in the end zone. That's some of the closest. There's a 3rd and 13 in the game. The same exact thing happens. We reroute, the guy's right there at the edge. The ball goes over his hands. It's 6-3. The ball goes over his hands by 3 inches in a ball that, if you're a quarterback coach or an offense guy, you do not throw that ball, because if that ball isn't a perfect throw, it's a chance to go 6 the other direction. It's 6-3, 3rd and 13. He catches it, breaks the tackle, goes for 35 yards, and they score a touchdown the next play. Momentum's the game. Now, are we right there where, man, that would have been a pick 6? No, but we're not quite even there to tip that ball. That's what I'm saying. The next step is getting a hand on that ball. The ball goes out of bounds. It's 3rd and 13. You're playing the football. Now we got the ball back and we're going. So, is there 2 steps? Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I couldn't say that last week. I couldn't say that there were those plays in the game where we had an opportunity to change the momentum to make it a different ballgame. I couldn't say that 2 weeks. Couldn't say that 3 weeks ago. So those are the things that we'll continue to build on.
How would you evaluate your offensive line play? You're down the charts in rushing and throwing for a few yards. But how much of that is that? How have they played in your opinion?
Again, they're doing the things we ask them to do. We can always get better. If you asked 2 weeks ago, I thought they did a great job protecting the quarterback. And even this week, they really did. I mean, I don't know how many sacks we gave up. But I mean, it's not like he's completely harassed. The sacks we gave up were on an all-out pressure.
1 for Hayden and 2 for Ross.
Yeah, and a lot of the ones Hayden was, that's an all-out pressure. Because they're bringing in an extra guy that you can block. So the O-line doesn't have much of an opportunity other than making sure we're letting the guy go that we're supposed to let go, so that we can read off of it, and that's on the quarterback. But we have to do a better that's not just the O-line. That's kind of like saying, well, you got to do a better job of pass defense, so your backhand's got to do a better job. No, no. The front end's got to do a better job too. They got to have better pass rush. They got to discipline their lanes. They got to get hands in the face. They got to do all the things that we expect them to do. We got to run the ball better. Well, the O-line's got to block better. Well, we got to hand the ball off. You know, so it's as a whole in the things we got to do. It doesn't just pinpoint to say, well, if we were playing better up front as offensive line, we'd be able to run the ball better. It doesn't. It's not 1 and 1 or 2 and 2 is 4. There's a lot of other things that go along with it.
Was some of that the backs need to create more things too, or?
Yeah, and some of that's we got to hand the ball too, and we've talked about those things. Like we said with Ross. I mean, at the end of the game, it's 4th and 1. He's pulling it and trying to throw it. Is that really what we want to do? You know, so you have some of those options that are built into your offense that sometimes can come back to hurt you at times too. You know, and that's a part of the evolution to make sure knowing what we're doing and why we're doing it. There's a play if you want to see. I think it's 3-3 or maybe it's 3-0. And the one play that Hayden pulls the ball down, or we're on the 15-yard line going in. Hayden pulls the ball and tries to run it around the left edge. He fakes the ball to Mike Boone. Pull it up. If he hands the ball to Mike Boone, there's nobody there. They all overrun. I mean, it's not like, oh, no, there's nothing there. Good blocking by the offensive line. I'm not saying it's a poor read by the quarterback based on what the defensive end did, but there are some of those situations where, hey, all in all, sometimes we just got to hand it off. And you just can't say, well, the numbers say to not do it. I know, but the numbers say to not do it. And if you hand it to Jared Dokes, there's a chance he breaks a tackle. So if you hand it to Mike Boone, there's a chance he breaks a tackle. So we can't outsmart ourselves in some of those situations too.
You talked about confidence on defense a couple weeks ago. Did you see that maybe start to get some of that back, only giving up 2 touchdowns to an offense like that?
The idea is that when you see confidence, you see guys that are aggressive, and I think that's what you saw. We missed some tackles, and a couple of them that in turn really hurt us, but for the most part, even they were missed tackles, they were missed with better leverage, they were missed with an aggressive approach, and that's where we got to continue to build. So yeah, I think you saw some of that. You saw a little bit more of the belief in the things that they were doing. That next step is having those confidence to make those plays. We talked about it even as wideouts. You see some wideouts that just want to catch the ball, so when they catch it, they fall. It's that same thing defensively. Also, I just want to get my hand on the ball. I just want to tip it instead of having the ability to go get it. You know, I just want to get the guy down as opposed to being an aggressive tackler. And I think we're seeing the progress.
In terms of penalties, how do you, is that something you guys address? How do you?
Yeah, we need, I mean, you know, especially when you pride yourself on being disciplined and fundamentally sound. And the penalties are a big, big deal. I mean, they were highly penalized too, but I'm not worried about them. What I'm starting to see, I mean, yes, they're throwing maybe some extra flags that I don't know that I completely agree with, but nonetheless, we have to learn from them. You know, and the foolish ones of delay a game, the foolish ones of, you know, the center snapping, you know, with a missed snap. We've had about 6 times. So we got to make sure as we move forward that we're not seeing the same things over and over and over again. You know, the aggressive ones. 2 of the personal fouls, I don't agree with. But then again, 2 of the personal fouls on them, I don't agree with. There was a guy flopped on one. There was a guy that pushed a guy down on a kickoff. That it's just a part of the game, and you know, the official calls a personal foul. I'm like, that's not a personal foul. I know it was on them, and we got 15 yards, but it's not. So, nonetheless, we have to learn from it. Our kids have to make sure they understand. There's some things that we can't shoot ourselves before we got to do a lot better.
So the 5 teams you've lost to are 26-3 combined. And now you have those behind you, and I know you have 2 and 5 and 0 and 3 in the league. You're not in a position to say we got a better chance to beat. If you know what I'm getting at.
No, I do.
Part of
I
your
do.
schedule.
Yeah, we've had a meat grind. We've had a run through it. You know, and you know, hopefully we can learn from it. That's the thing is, you know, your ability to be able to thrive in those really tough situations and storms like we've had them. You know, and momentum and confidence and all those kinds of things are even a bigger factor than talent in this game. And we need to find a way, you know, to not let what has happened in the beginning hinder us from continuing to grow, regardless of who we have to play. You know, there's still going to be, you know, like I said, the depth of this league is far greater than I think. I don't want to say I gave it credit for, but really, I think everybody around the country gives it credit for.
not that you could control this or use it as an excuse, but can you imagine maybe how your season would have been unfolding differently if the schedule had been flipped? I mean,
Don't have a whole lot of time to think about those things. So, you know, maybe there's a hurricane that pushes it all and flips it around. I don't know, you know, and you know, your ability to, like you said, to generate and to create some things and have some positives. I don't know. I mean, if not, we got to look at it. This is adversity. You can do two things. It can crush you. It can make you stronger. And in this situation, we got to use it as a builder, as building strength. Strengthen our staff, strengthen our program, strengthen our kids. You know, we're going to learn a lot more about each other as a staff, and as coaches, and as players. You know, in these tougher times, and that's the focus and what we got to do. Use it.
I guess I just mean as a new coach and a new staff, it's kind of, you know, you got it thrown right at you. I mean, there was no.
Yeah,
No,
and again, I don't know that. I told you I didn't study the league as much. I didn't study the schedule as much. I tried not to do that where you sit back and you try to say, okay, what about this and this and this one? Oh, if we can be here. I didn't want to put myself in that situation. I wanted to say, hey, I want to focus on our kids. I want to focus on the things that we can do and how do we get better. I don't know if I would have changed how we've done anything. You know, I would like to change the results, but the reality is, it's not a choice I get now.
So you're facing another team with a really good quarterback.
Yep.
See more of a drop back passer than the last two.
He is. He's done a great job. I mean, they were leading the league in passing, leading the league in yards. Had two of their leading receivers, so 1 and 2 in the league. Last week, obviously, they had a bye. Another team with a bye. So I think they're 3 and 4 in the league on receptions and yards for those guys. But they have done a great job. You know, they've thrown the football, they've moved the ball. They've offensively, you know, not defensively, they haven't. Obviously, they're leading the league in sacks too, I think. But they've done a much better job from maybe what they were 2 years ago.
Anything else? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.